Fourth to last book for my reading challenge. I'm almost done. This book is called The Sociopath Next Door by Dr. Martha Stout. I really enjoyed this book. Martha Stout was a PhD who served at the Harvard Medical School for 25 years and was a clinical associate at the Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. She practiced clinical psychology. She specialized in psychological trauma and PTSD. Super interesting book. It goes through, I'm going to read some bits. I'm going to read a bunch of it, but it talks about the difference between sociopaths, psychopaths, how to identify them, which I'm going to read right now. So this is according to I'm just going to go through them pretty quickly. The DSM, so that's the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders 4. Antisocial personality disorder, or what sociopath is basically, should be considered when an individual possesses at least 3 of the following 7 characteristics. 1. Failure to conform to social norms. 2. Deceitfulness, manipulation. 3. Impulsivity, failure to plan ahead. 4. Irritability, aggressiveness. 5. Reckless disregard for the safety of others. 6. Consistent irresponsibility. 7. Lack of remorse after having hurt, mistreated, or stolen from another person. The presence in an individual of any 3 of these symptoms taken together is enough to make psychiatrists suspect they have antisocial personality disorder. Very interesting. It's a little bit scary to apply to yourself. I did actually do one of the recommended psychological profiles, and unfortunately, I am not a sociopath. So, well, according to that test, anyway. The intense charm of people who have no conscience, that's a sociopath, that's how they classify them, with no conscience. A kind of inexplicable charisma has been observed and commented on by countless victims and by researchers who attempt to catalogue the diagnostic signs of sociopathy. It is a potent characteristic. Most of the victims I have known in my work have reported that their initial involvement with a sociopathic person and the continued association, even though she or he caused them pain, was a direct result of how charming she or he could be. Countless times I have watched people shake their heads and make statements such as, "He was the most charming person I ever met," or "I felt like I'd known her forever," or "He had an energy about him that other people just don't have." I liken sociopathic charm to the animal charisma of other animals who are predators. We watch large cats, for example, and are fascinated by their movements, their independence, and their power. But the direct gaze of a leopard, should one happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, is inescapable and tantalizing. And the fascinating charm of the predator is often the last thing the prey ever experiences. Pity and sympathy are forces for good when they are reactions to deserving people who have fallen on misfortune. But when these sentiments are wrestled out of us by the undeserving, by people whose behavior is consistently antisocial, this is a sure sign that something is wrong. A potentially useful danger signal is that we often overlook. Perhaps the most easily recognized example is the battered wife whose sociopathic husband beats her routinely and then sits at the kitchen table, head in his hands, moaning that he cannot control himself and that he is a poor wretch whom she must find it in her heart to forgive. Brutal. 13 rules for dealing with sociopaths. So this is super useful. I'm not going to read the whole thing. There's pages and pages of it. Rule 1. The first rule involves the bitter pill of accepting that some people literally have no conscience. 2. In a contest between your instincts and what is implied by the role a person has taken on, educator, doctor, leader, animal, lover, humanist, parent, go with your instincts. When considering a new relationship of any kind, practice the rule of 3s regarding the claims and promises a person makes and the responsibilities he or she has. Make the rule of 3s your personal policy. Question authority. So it's very common for sociopaths to put themselves in positions of authority. Suspect flattery. 6. If necessary, redefine your concept of respect. 7. Do not join the game. 8. The best way to protect yourself from a sociopath is to avoid him, to refuse any kind of contact or communication. Question your tendency to pity too easily. 10. Do not try to redeem the unredeemable. 11. Never agree, out of pity or any other reason, to help a sociopath conceal his or her true character. 12. Defend your psyche. 13. Living well is the best revenge. So this is talking about one of the problems that sociopaths have is that they're addicted to thrill-seeking and risk, and they get bored really easily. The inclination to dilute boredom chemically for a while is part of the reason sociopaths tend to be alcohol and drug abusers. A major comorbidity study published in 1990 in the Journal of the American Medical Association estimates that as many as 75% of sociopaths are dependent on alcohol, and 50% abuse other drugs. And so sociopaths are often addicts in the usual sense, in addition to being figuratively addicted to risk. With its peak experiences and its dangers, the drug culture holds more than one form of appeal for the conscienceless. And the drug culture is where many sociopaths feel at home. Really interesting book. It goes through lots of hypothetical situations with hypothetical and based on real sociopaths. So, yeah, really interesting read. I really enjoyed it.